a ton of bricks. Right here, Jack Mangan from Sport Life and Music, Metal Hall of Fame. Metal
Like a
Asylum.
ton of bricks.
That's right. Yes.
Right?
That's right. No copyright infringement. But yeah, there we go. Metal Church, of course, classic Metal Church. We can all bond on that. So I'm sitting here with two absolute giants in the comic industry, Sorah Suhng. That's not funny. It's real. It's real. So we got Sorah
You're real
Suhng.
and it's keeping it real.
That's right. That's right. So Sorah Suhng and Brian Pulido, Coffin Comics. We're here for. Well, tell us about today's event. This is a fun, cool, awesome event for your fans and your people. Tell me what.
Sure.
you're
Well,
doing.
I'm going to offer you my perspective. My name is Brian Pulido. I'm the proud publisher of Coffin Comics, and I very delightfully get to publish great work by phenomenal talent, including Sorah, my longtime friend here. And today we are celebrating her artist celebration, where she carefully crafted 4 all new covers, which we presented here in Coffin Comics HQ in Mesa, Arizona, but also through mail order all around the world. What's your perspective of today?
For me, I mean, it's a really great experience to come here and basically meet and casually mingle with all the sworn fans. It's like seriously some of the best fans on the planet. Like,
Yeah.
they're just the kindest, nicest, most accepting fans I've ever met, and they're really great, and they have lots of enthusiasm, and so it's always a pleasure to come here and hang out with them. So no matter what.
And even though they look like a biker club, it's all good.
It is. Yeah, well, that, I told you there's that whole theory that they said about metalheads basically being super, super kind because they get all that cathartic emotion out through the music.
A good amount of us
So
do.
it works.
Right. No, I love the music crossover too. I mean, Brian and I have talked about this before. Like,
Yeah.
there's just so much crossover. I mean, the song titles, Metal Church song titles,
That's true.
right in,
That's true.
in
Yeah.
history. So, in fact, that's what I bought today.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, that's Merciless Onslaught. Total. I mean, look, comics do have a long history of name checking pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
And my background is I'm a metalhead, horror lover, comic book lover, and I'd like to think that my comics are like metal songs brought to life. I don't feel like I have to, write stories of people holding guitars on the side of a mountain, but I can do comic books that just evoke the feeling of, let's say, Slayer's Rain and Blood, or, the list goes on.
sure. Well, and of course, we're all metal, but music and comics. There's
Yeah.
just like you said, it goes
Big
back.
crossover.
Yeah. So, and how about you? Sorry, what about your connection? Do you see a big connection for you with music? Do you listen to music when you're drawing?
Oh yeah, like almost exclusively. Well, I will do like podcasts and murder podcasts specifically, but especially if I'm trying to like evoke a mood for any particular piece, then I will find specific music to listen to help channel that for sure. Like
Yes.
it is a big part of my creative process.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then, I'm going to put you on the spot. Then,
Okay.
what's a good thing for when you're drawing a cover for Brian? Like, what are you
So
going to turn to?
weirdly, it's actually it's hard to like. They make a lot of trailer music. They're called 2 Steps from Hell, although they broke up.
Yes.
And so they have a lot of like orchestral variety that I like. So it's like cinematic kind of stuff, or I will go for just like, kind of like EDM metal mix kind of stuff. But I have a whole playlist. I couldn't tell you. Like, it just depends on the mood, right?
Yeah. No, I was putting you in a spot. Great call out though. 2 Steps from Hell. That's not. You took me by surprise, but that's great band. Great art. Yeah. Well, let me take a detour for a quick second. So life is hard for everyone. It's challenging and hard, and a lot of challenges for creatives especially. So what would be your words of advice? This isn't necessarily just for music, but
Sure.
What are your words of advice for people who are in a bad way or in a bad spot and having some bad ideas? Would you advise for people to kind of help themselves persist and get through that?
Well, I mean, above all, my recommendation to people is to persist, because emotions are like moods or clouds or atmosphere. They really do, and they come and they really go. So sometimes you can feel very acutely like hopeless or despondent, but if you just stick it out, there could be something on the other end. I mean, I read one time that for every human being who attempted to jump off the San Francisco Bridge and survived, they said as soon as they jumped, they regretted it. So there's something to be said there.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What about
I was just like really listening, kind of like disassociating, absorbing that. I think the persistence is really key to that, and I agree with you about emotions they're kind of fleeting. Even in psychology, they talk about the fact that there are deep-rooted emotions versus moods, and a lot of times people mix those two up. And so understanding like happiness is a mood, whereas contentment is an emotion. And so I think that understanding the difference there is what really is going to help people go forward, because it is fleeting, it is momentary. And my manager Brett always would get me out of like a bad mental state by saying things like like it sounds so trite and cliche, but it's true. It's like he's like, you never know what's going to happen tomorrow, and because we truly don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And there have been so many circumstances in the last 10 years of my life where I was absolutely convinced X was happening, and then the next day everything changed. So you just never know, because we don't control anything.
Yeah, sticking it out really is key, even in the face of it all. I know, to this day, I've always dealt with anxiety, and I was diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder many years ago, long before it was a trend. And there are times where it's just super duper challenging. But what I do know intellectually, and I have behavioral modification therapy to assist me in, is that I just have to stick it out sometimes. Like, I'm not feeling ideal, I'm feeling despondent, it's dark, but I just have to keep sticking it out. And strangely, there is something, even a half hour later, there's something on the other end.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you all so much for that. Yeah, thanks. Well, so let's circle back to you guys who've been incredible careers, and we're just in the middle of them. We're all young enough that you can
That's
say,
right.
Well, I'm talking about you, I'm not talking about me. But, so what's coming up? We're in early 2025 still, so what's coming up in the near future for you guys for 2025 and beyond?
Well, obviously I'll still be doing plenty of stuff for Coffin, because that's like, I feel like Coffin's my home in that sense. And I do have some exciting things happening in regards to developing my own properties with my friend Ryan O'Sullivan. We're working on a cyberpunk property together right now. And I'm doing another book with my buddy Garrett Gunn. We're doing something that's a little, I would say, Coffin adjacent in terms of the vibes, but it's more like an all ages kind of an approach to it. And but I have other things. I don't know if I'm allowed to actually announce it though.
Sometimes that's
when is
works
this
in
going
progress.
live?
Probably April of 2025.
Okay, I don't think I can
so
announce it then. I'm a little early, yeah.
We'll circle back for sure. Yeah. And you always have stuff going on.
Coffin Comics is a freight train. It's
Yeah.
a bullet train to infinity, and there's
know.
stuff always coming out. So as you and I speak, here we are in April, but coming in May, Lady Satanus. Coming in June, Lady Gunfighter. Coming in August, Lady Death Immortal Deception. Lady Death in a whole world of dragons and serpents. Then September, Mike Morg Evolution. But that's not all. Come October, Hell Witch Hexecutioner. And rounding out this year of publishing, in November, Lady Death Pirate Queen. Don't get it twisted. Coffin is not taking it easy. We have every other week we have new Coffin Comic Shop promotions. We will be at cons, including Phoenix Fan Fusion, San Diego Comic-Con, Tucson Comic-Con, and many others. So yeah, the Coffin freight train of fun continues.
Yeah, the Coffin train. There you go.
The Coffin train.
Yeah.
I'm on the night train.
You really do come up with like the best titles for
Thank
these
you.
books though.
I think Hellgasm was pretty good.
That was a good one.
Or Mike Morg Necromorphosis, and then which to me is like metamorphosis during death, and then the next one Evolution.
Evolution
It's
is cool.
Him overcoming and evolving into this next thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exciting. And then there's stuff you can't say right here
Absolutely.
today, right? There's exciting stuff. So right.
Yeah, I mean Coffin Comics. I'm actually we're deep into our 2026 publishing schedule and executing that, and definitely some surprises there. But I'm actually working on a little bit of 2027 and new stuff there too.
He's
Wow.
so disciplined.
I'm very disciplined.
Working so far ahead.
It's true. I fold my laundry. I make my bed. All of which is true. It's just true. I have friends who are like, why would you do that? And I was like, why wouldn't you?
Maybe that's part of the secret. That right?
Being a person who has dealt with anxiety for most of my life, routine and repetition is super duper helpful. It super calms everything down. Because if you think about it, I've picked the absolute most ridiculous vocation to do, because we have deadlines every year, every quarter, every month, every week, every day, every moment. And yet, here, an anxious type person is in this field. It's like ridiculous. I should have been maybe a massage therapist or something, but
Same.
something super chill. I'm the host at like some sort of like New
Lounge.
Mexican, a lounge would be great.
Yeah, there you go. Well, all right. Thank you guys both so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, why don't you guys take us out with some again, putting you both on the spot. Take us out. Thank you for talking to us today, and best of, I'm definitely going to be following what you're both doing.
Thank you.
25 and 20 and beyond. So take us out with some words of wisdom or even some snark, whatever you want.
Okay.
Well, for anybody who's aspiring to be an artist, the best advice I can give is literally just keep drawing. And if you have a spare moment, to always keep drawing and to always look forward, because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
I think that's wonderful. I'm going to say this. There is no justice. There's just us. And if you haven't done it recently, go listen to the first Metal Church record, because it is so phenomenal and underrated. We were just talking about that earlier, and that's how I'm feeling.
All right, perfect. Thanks everyone. Thank you
Thanks,
guys.
everybody. Holler at you later.
All right, giant finger coming through.